Elizabeth at Literary Princess. If you are new here, welcome. I'm a 6-year PhD candidate in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists. And as you might expect, I love to read. Today, I thought we would talk about something that I don't think I talk about very much on here, and that is new releases. Now, obviously, with the whole Victorian literature thing, a lot of what I read is old. However, I am looking forward to several books that are coming out in 2025, and I thought we would go through a few of them. A few of them are actually already out. They came out in January because this video probably would have been better suited to, you know, the beginning of January instead of February, but that's fine. I also am gonna have to wait to read these because I'll be getting them out of the library and other people will have already gotten them out. So there are 8 books that I want to talk about. Let's jump in. The first book is the I'm not even sure what number in a series I've been reading for quite a while. And this is Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear by Shannon Maguire. It is from the Wayward Children series. So this series, the odd number books are the kind of main present day plot, and the even numbered books go back in time. This whole series looks at children who have gone through doors into magical worlds, so kind of like Narnia. And the main plot line is about them being back in the real world and managing that. And then the even numbered books each look at a different character's time in their magical world. So this is an even numbered book, and we are spending it with a character who we met in one of the previous books, one of the main plotline books, Nadia. So I guess I'll just read the summaries. Nadia has 3 mothers, the one who bore her, the country that poisoned her, and the one who adopted her. Nadia never considered herself less than whole, not until her adoptive parents fitted her with a prosthetic arm against her will, seeking to replace the one she's been missing from birth. It was cumbersome, it was uncomfortable, it was wrong. It wasn't her. Frustrated and unable to express why, Nadia began to wander, until the day she fell through a door into Billerica? The land beneath the lake, and found herself in a world of water filled with child-eating amphibians, majestic giant turtles, and impossible ships that sailed as happily beneath the surface as on top. In Billerica, she found herself understood for who she was, a drowned girl who had made her way to her real home, accepted by the river and its people. But even in Billerica, there are dangers and trials, and Nadia would soon find herself fighting to keep hold of everything she had come to treasure. So this actually came out already. It came out on January 7th, which these books do always come out right at the beginning of January. I have in the past had arcs of them, but I'm not doing arcs anymore, so now I have to wait like a peasant to get it from the library. Or I could just buy it on Kindle, but I don't want to do that because I don't own most of these. I have like I said, I have a few arcs, and then I think I got the first 3 for either free or really cheap on my Kindle, but I don't want to buy the rest. Like, you know, I think when they're all done, I'll want a whole box set, but we're not nearly there yet, I don't think. Oh, this is number 10, it says at the bottom. Excellent. So I'm very excited to read this. I have enjoyed all of these in the series. They're very short. They're just novellas. I will say that this was not the world I was hoping we would visit for this book. So I was a little disappointed when it was announced. There was a character introduced in the book Where the Drowned Girls Go, I think is the title, who I really wanted to visit her world, and I was really hoping we would get to see her, but no. But I'm excited to see more about Nadia, who appeared fairly briefly in one of the others. The next one is another one that has already come out. This is Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. Probably pronouncing that wrong. I am so sorry. This came out on January 14th. Life has thrown Zelu some curveballs over the years, but when she's suddenly dropped from her university job and her latest novel is rejected, all in the middle of her sister's wedding, her life is upended. Disabled, unemployed, and from a nosy, high-achieving, judgmental family, she's not sure what comes next. In her hotel room that night, she takes a risk that will define her life. She decides to write a book very unlike her others. A science fiction drama about androids and AI after the extinction of humanity, and everything changes. What follows is a tale of love and loss, fame and infamy, of extraordinary events in one world and another. And as Zelu's life evolves, the lines between fiction and reality begin to blur, because sometimes a story really does have the power to reshape the world. This just sounds really good. I don't remember where I heard about this. Maybe somebody here on BookTube? Could have been on Tumblr, though. Or I could have just come across it on Goodreads. Who knows? But it sounds so good. I love books about writers. I always think that's so fun. And it seems like we might kind of get like almost the story within the story, or like the two are going to collide. It does say it's science fiction, which I'm usually not very into, but because it's a book about writing, like, and about a writer, I think I'll really enjoy it. And this is the last one that has already come out. This is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. It also came out on January 14th. They call them wayward girls, loose girls, girls who grew up too fast. And they're sent to the Wellwood home in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families to have their babies in secret, give them up for adoption, and most important of all, to forget any of it ever happened. 15-year-old Fern arrives at the home in the sweltering summer of 1970, pregnant, terrified, and alone. Under the watchful eye of stern Miss Wellwood, she meets a dozen other girls in the same predicament. There's Rose, a hippie who insists she's going to find a way to keep her baby and escape to a commune. And Zinnia, a budding musician who knows she's going to go home and marry her baby's father. And Holly, a wisp of a girl, barely 14, mute, and pregnant by no one knows who. Everything the girls eat, every moment of their waking day, and everything they're allowed to talk about is strictly controlled by adults who claim to know what's best for them. Then Fern meets a librarian who gives her an occult book about witchcraft, and power is in the hands of the girls for the first time in their lives. But power can destroy as easily as it creates, and it's never given freely. There's always a price to be paid, and it's usually paid in blood. I have read 2 Grady Hendrix books. My Best Friend's Exorcism, which I adored, and then one that I actually just finished yesterday, which was How to Sell a Haunted House, which I enjoyed, but not as much as My Best Friend's Exorcism. So I am really excited for this book, especially because it's like dealing with, a group of young girls who like become witches. I love that kind of thing. I do. So this just sounds like it's going to be so much fun. His works are so campy, but also creepy. And I'm expecting more of the same, and I cannot wait. I actually lied. This is the last one that's already come out. To be fair, it came out on February 4th, which was like a few days ago. This is Blackwood's Blue Sky by Eowyn Ivey. Birdie's keeping it together. Of course she is. So she's a little hungover sometimes, and she has to bring her daughter, Emmeline, to a job waiting tables at an Alaskan roadside lodge, but she's getting by as a single mother in a tough town. Still, Birdie can remember happier times from her youth when she was free in the wilds of nature. Arthur Nielsen, a soft-spoken and scarred recluse who appears in town only at the change of seasons, brings Emmeline back to safety when she gets lost in the woods. Most people avoid him, but to Birdie, he represents everything she's ever longed for. She finds herself falling for Arthur and the land he knows so well. Against the warnings of those who care about them, Birdie and Emmeline move to his isolated cabin in the mountains on the far side of the Wolverine River. It's just the three of them in the vast black woods, far from roads, telephones, electricity, and outside contact. But Birdie believes she has come prepared. At first, it's idyllic, and she can picture a happily ever after. Together, they catch salmon, pick berries, and climb mountains so tall it's as if they could touch the bright blue sky. But soon Birdie discovers that Arthur is something much more mysterious and dangerous than she could have ever imagined, and that like the Alaska wilderness, a fairy tale can be as dark as it is beautiful. So I adored Eowyn Ivy's Snow Child, which also took place in Alaska and was a retelling of the fairy tale The Snow Maiden. So this is apparently also a fairy tale retelling. I'm not entirely sure which, but I'm interested to read it and find out. She's just such a beautiful, beautiful writer. Like, oh, gorgeous, gorgeous writing. And apparently this is illustrated. So that's going to be exciting. Or at least Ruth Hulbert is listed as the illustrator on Goodreads. So I don't know if it's just the cover art or what. But I'm very excited for this one. I'm really looking forward to experiencing Ivy's writing again. Now one that is definitely not out yet, that I am very impatiently waiting for. This is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. It comes out on February 11th, only a few more days. And it is the third book in the Emily Wilde series. I am going to read the summary, but it might contain spoilers. So if you haven't read the other two books, you might want to skip ahead to the next book in the little chapters thingy. Emily Wilde has spent her life studying fairies. A renowned dryadologist, she has documented hundreds of species of folk in her Encyclopedia of Fairies. Now she is about to embark on her most dangerous academic project, studying the inner workings of a fairy realm as its queen. Along with her former academic rival, now fiancé, the dashing and mercurial Wendell Bambleby, Emily is immediately thrust into the deadly intrigues of fairy as the two of them seize the throne of Wendell's long-lost kingdom, which Emily finds a beautiful nightmare filled with scholarly treasures. Emily has been obsessed with fairy stories her entire life, but at first she feels as ill-suited to fairy as she did to the mortal world. How can an unassuming scholar such as herself pass for a queen? Yet there is little time to settle in, for Wendell's murderous stepmother has placed a deadly curse upon the land before vanishing without a trace. It will take all of Wendell's magic and Emily's knowledge of stories to unravel the mystery before they lose everything they hold dear. I'm so excited. This was on my February TBR, and I will be buying it on Kindle as soon as it comes out. I can't wait to see. I love these characters, and I love the world that Fawcett's created. And apparently Fawcett is giving a talk, like a Zoom talk, through my library on the 10th. So that's super exciting too. And I think I will be going to that if I can. All right, another continuation in a series. So if you don't want spoilers for the first book of this, skip ahead. This is A Theory of Drowning by Ava Reed, and it is coming out on August 5th. So this is the sequel to A Study in Drowning, and it's apparently the last book. It's going to just be a duology. All stories come to an end. Effie learned that when she defeated the Fairy King. Even though she may never know exactly what happened at Hiraeth, she is free of her nightmares and is able to pen a thesis with Preston on the beloved national fairy tale Angharad. Pronunciations and me don't get along. She's finally earned a spot at the Literature College, making her the first woman in history to enroll. But some dreams are dangerous, especially when they come true. The entire university, and soon the entire nation, is waiting for her to fail. With the Fairy King defeated and Myrddin's legacy exposed, Effie can no longer escape into fantasy. Who is she without her stories? With Effie under threat, Preston is surprised to discover a rage simmering inside him, ringing in his ears like bells. He begins to dream of a palace under the sea, a world where he is king, visions that start to follow him even in waking. As the war between Lear and Argant explodes, Effie and Preston find themselves caught in the crossfire, Effie losing her dreams and Preston losing himself in his. Are dreams ever truly just dreams? I love to study in drowning, so I'm very excited for a theory of dreaming and to be back with these characters. And it sounds like we're going to get to see more of the academic setting, which I'm very excited for. And now, probably the one I'm most excited for, it's probably tied with Emily Wilde, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right either. This is Katabasis by R.F. Kuang, coming out on August 26th. Katabasis, noun, ancient Greek. The story of a hero's descent to the underworld. Alice Law has only ever had one goal: to become one of the brightest minds in the field of magic. She has sacrificed everything to make that a reality: her pride, her health, her love life, and most definitely her sanity. All to work with Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge, the greatest magician in the world. That is, until he dies in a magical accident that could possibly be her fault. Awkward. Grimes is now in hell, and she's going in after him, because his recommendation could hold her very future in his now incorporeal hands, and even death is not going to stop the pursuit of her dreams. Nor will the fact that her rival, Peter Murdoch, has come to the very same conclusion. With nothing but the tales of Orpheus and Dante to guide them, enough chalk to draw the pentagrams necessary for their spells, and the burning desire to make all the academic trauma mean anything, they set off across hell to save a man they don't even like. But hell is not like the storybooks say. Magic isn't always the answer, and there's something in Alice and Peter's past that could forge them into the perfect allies, or lead to their doom. This is a return to fantasy for R.F. Kuang. She wrote Babel a few years ago, which I adored. I kind of similar to this with magic, but it was at Oxford in the Victorian period. She last year put out Yellowface, which is a contemporary book, which I really enjoyed, but I am just so excited to get back to a fantasy setting and another academic setting that sounds like it is once again going to be critiquing academia, because that is one of the things I adored about Babel. And I'm just so excited. The cover reveal for this just happened pretty recently, and I love the cover. It's so nice. And the final book I want to talk about is Hot Wax by M.L. Rio, which is coming out on September 9th. Summer 1989. 10-year-old Suzanne is drawn like a magnet to her father's forbidden world of electric guitars and tricked-out cars. When her mother remarries, she jumps at the chance to tag along on the concert tour that just might be Gil and the Kills' Wild Ride to Glory. But fame has sharper fangs than anybody realized, and as the band blazes up the charts, internal power struggles set Gil and his group on a collision course destined for a bloody reckoning, one shrouded in mystery and lore for decades to come. The only witness to a desperate act of violence, Suzanne spends the next 29 years trying to disappear. She trades the music and mayhem of her youth for the quiet of the suburbs and the company of her mild-mannered husband, Rob. But when her father's sudden death resurrects the troubled past she tried so hard to bury, she leaves it all behind and hits the road in search of answers. Hitching her fate and Gil's beloved car to two vagabonds who call an old Airstream trailer home. She finds everything she thought she'd lost: desire, adventure. Everything she thought she'd lost: desire, adventure, and the woman she once wanted to be. But Rob refuses to let her go. Determined to bring her back where she belongs, he chases her across the country and drives her to a desperation all her own. So ML Rio is, of course, the author of If We Were Villains, which came out quite a while ago now, and then she put out a novella last year, Graveyard Shift. I loved If We Were Villains. I had actually followed ML Rio on her Tumblr and saw the writing and publication process of If We Were Villains, which was super fun. And I was disappointed that it took so long for another book by her to come out, but I remember her talking about writing this book too. So that's kind of cool. And I'm excited to pick up something by her again. I liked Graveyard Shift, but I felt like it needed to be longer and a full novel. So I'm excited to get another full novel from her. So those are the 2025 releases that I am looking forward to. Let me know down in the comments, what 2025 releases are you most excited about? Do we share any? Have you read any of the ones that were already released that I talked about? What did you think of them? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.